they're detecting something that's simultaneous. And this one was the one that I was the most taken by, in that they had 3 different LIGO detectors detecting something at the same time. And it was the same waveform they all detected. So whether it's a black hole or a cosmic goose, I'm not even concerned so much.
Well, I'm not even sure how they're measuring it, to be perfectly honest. Like, how are they measuring gravity?
Well, they have a gigantic interferometer with arms miles long, kilometers or whatever, and they come back to an interference surface where the waves going out different arms of the detector showing on the screen now. They reflect back to make an interference pattern of the 2 respective arms interfering. And with them going different directions, they'll be able to detect, and I'm not sure.
Well, basically, they're vibrating 2 things that are shooting at each other through a very long tubes, and then they I may be using a mirror or something to combine the 2 images and see where they screw up or interfere.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not vibrating something. What they're trying to do is get a perfectly still image, and they made all their equipment to be as vibrationless as possible, etc. What they're looking for is the effect of gravity waves vibrating the instruments and causing the interference pattern, which they have all the time, causing the fringes on the interference pattern to vibrate. So that's directly mapping the gravity wave going by to the light interference vibrating, which indicates that there's slight phase change in the light, so that if the phase changes back and forth, the interference fringe, which is a resultant of peaks and valleys in and out of phase, so it'll make the fringes of the interference pattern vibrate slightly. And that's very slightly too, because they're finding the vibrations as their end measurement below the noise floor.
I wonder if we should. I wonder if that would be best measured. Like, things like this come across to me like, okay, you have something that's affecting the Earth directly. It's not like you're going to actually. I mean, what they're detecting as differences in gravity, we've detected since the 1800s. We picked up a weight and we brought it from Canada over into France, measured the 2, and now they're different. They're supposed to be 1 kilogram, but now they're not. And they're keep coming up with this. I'm assuming that this happens all the time, where these vibrations, the potential gravity of the Earth fluctuates. It doesn't. I mean, for example, northern Canada is a lot less gravity, apparently. So, and no one knows why.
Interesting. Yeah, I could agree with that. It could very well be the Earth's gravity well ringing from something.
Well, yeah, like if it's based on charge, based on the sun, but it's affecting apparently the same spot in 3-dimensional space. So if that's the case, then it would be affecting like a blob that sort of affected the ionosphere and sort of made it, with Coulomb charges or something. But at the same time, that should also cause earthquakes and stuff. They should see that directly. So I'm not, and it should happen more often as well. I don't know. Again, this is the whole problem of not understanding gravity, I guess.
But there's one problem where we've been thinking just now, and that is it's a chirp that gets into a higher frequency. It starts out low frequency and then goes to a higher frequency in a period of like a fraction of a second, I think. Maybe it's a couple seconds. It's a short event, but it goes from low frequency to high frequency. They say, the mainstreamers are claiming that their mathematical model of 2 black holes falling together would make that same chirp in gravity. In other words, the black holes approach, and the closer they get, the faster they go around each other, and to where their centers almost meet and they're spinning around each other a few millisecond period.
Well, I'm glad you took the time to actually review that, because it always causes some sort of like little gag reflex in the back of my throat whenever time I talk about it.
Yeah.
The whole black hole thing, and you're like, it's gravity, and you're like, oh my God, this hurts.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is where, I mean, it's the scalar part of it. Just anyway, it's.
But you can see here the 3 different waves, the 3 waves that are similar on the 3 different detectors.
Well,
and by the delay in
those
waves, they're getting an approximate side of the universe they're coming from, I think.
Well, it seems to be pretty direct, but we also, well, I mean, we've had the same sort of argument before with gamma ray bursts. We're not sure. We know that they're coming from a similar spot, but where? You know, and
Yeah.
some people think they're inside of, you know, our which shell are they affected? The heliopause or the Earth, or are they far, far out in space? You know, we don't know where. So
Yeah.
Right.
In regards to interference, I guess we got onto this as an interferometer.
Right.
Dave, could you show my rounding the cube interference patterns?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Let me see how to
This
get.
is digital. It's a digital interference, but it might lend. It's just different thinking. It might lend some extra bandwidth in your neuron activity.
What's the right thing to query here?
Yeah, let's see. Fractal world number 8. Yeah, first one. Fractal world when squaring a circle.
Where this? Oh, okay. Squaring the circle. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So would explain what's going on here now that I understand what it is. But
Well, you've seen two
Sure.
screens. You've seen through two screens on a screen door, and you'll see the interference of the two screens.
like a more pattern.
Yeah, they'll make patterns. Like you might see an image of a woman in your mind's eye when you look at the interference patterns. And you can't get any closer to the pattern because it doesn't have any more resolution in a screen door pattern. But what I did with a 3-dimensional modeling program called Pavre, which is free. Oh, if you leave this run, that might help explain things.
Right.
The only thing that is taking part in making the interference patterns are these stripes that you see animating. Does everyone see these animating?
Can you see them?
I do.
Yep.
Yeah. So what it is basically you're just increasing the texture, how that texture maps onto the sphere.
Right.
So
And
it's
those
just a flat, like
patterns-
a.
Yeah, and those patterns you saw at the end are actually part of the interference. But what it's interfering with is the screen grid, the pixelation of the computer screen, and a digital model that is holding these latitude lines like you're seeing.
All right. You see this
now watch
behavior
right-
starts
Watch
happening.
about now.
And it,
They actually do
there.
this right there.
right.
So they actually all come together all at once. It's sort of an exponential knee of the curve gets passed. Actually, it happens when the electronic model has lines or those latitude stripes. When those stripes get below the size of the pixel screen, then it makes this bizarre interference, and dots come in from all
Right.
sides. Okay,
Right.
that is
But
a
there's
side
also
view.
there's also
Going back up
Mask.
to the top,
May,
we're looking
may I
down.
ask who's this?
Please do.
Okay, no, may I ask whose work is this?
That's mine, Don Mitchell.
Oh, okay, Alan Mitchell. All right,
Don.
awesome.
on.
Oh,
Don,
Don.
as in-
Sorry, Don.
Like Donald Duck.
Okay,
Don
awesome.
Corleone.
Well, nice meeting you. Great work. Yeah, very interesting.